To ease heavy congestion at the Beitbridge Border Post, which has slowed the movement of commercial traffic. Now, Zimra says a combination of operational challenges caused that backlog. This has affected transporters, clearing agents, importers and exporters. The authorities say it's working with border agencies to speed up cargo processing and restore normal traffic flow. It expects the backlog to be largely cleared within the next 24 hours. This is provided operating conditions remain stable. All right, for more on this, we take you now to SABC News reporter Lutendo Bobodi, who's at the Beitbridge Border Post in Limpopo for us. A very good morning to Lutendo. We were showing visuals a bit earlier on at the start of the program. It honestly looked like the situation was getting worse and not necessarily any better, even though we've had Zimbabwe on their side committing now to attempt to fast-track everything to ensure that there's an easing of that congestion.
Well, thank you so much, Mfunda. When we spoke earlier about 8 o'clock, we were at the tail end of this backlog of commercial traffic, and we're still at the same spot. You know, although there's been a bit of movement, but, you know, just about the same 10 kilometers backlog from the border gate. But I can tell you, Mfunda, this has nothing on what the situation was yesterday. It was about 25 kilos, something that had never been seen in this area. You speaking to traffic officials, you speak to members of the public, they will tell you this is something new. And with all the years I've worked here, I had not seen anything like that. But there's of course a bit of progress, and now, because it's now about 10 kilos, yesterday 25 kilos, and when you spoke to truckers, they would tell us that they would move only 1 kilo per day, which means, you know, they stayed here for about 4 days. It all started about 4 days ago. Everything was fine, the movement was fine, all well, and then there was that stagnation, and truckers were asking themselves and each other questions as to what was going on, and there were no answers. Of course, we came here and we reached out to SARS, and BMA also released a statement trying to clarify the situation, saying, look, don't put this on us, because our system is working properly, everything is fine. But on the other side of the border, the Zimbabwean side of the border, there are delays, system issues, and also a lack of parking spaces there. And they promised that they'll be engaging with their counterparts in Zimbabwe to try and facilitate better movement of this. But I think that has happened, because if over the night they moved about 10 or so kilos, it shows you that there has been a bit of improvement. But we've been watching since this morning. We can see, you know, trucks are moving like a few meters, but it's frustration for them. You know, they are not used to this, because they choose the Beitbridge Border Post because of its efficiency, and of course the fact that it's a shorter route to our neighboring countries, you know, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, so on and so forth. You know, some may have chosen the Groblersbrug, but it's longer because they have to cut through Botswana, and, you know, go through Palm Tree to Bulawayo, and then to Zimbabwe, and travel to other countries like Zambia, and even DRC. We spoke to a driver here who's en route to DRC, and he expressed his frustration. But we are here, Mfundo, we are keeping our tabs, and of course we'll give you more updates. But for now, it seems there's a bit of movement, and, you know, the authorities on the other side of the border have promised that they'll put more bodies and they'll make the system run better. And of course, I think it's now glaring, it's palpable, we can see the movements. But we are here, we keep our tabs, and we'll give you more updates a little bit later on.
Lutendo, just before I let you go, unfortunately, such situations often present an opportunity for criminal elements. When speaking to truckers, are they speaking of concerns around criminality? Because you've been indicating they've been sleeping there for 4 days. When they're stationary vehicles, you tend to have a few criminals lurking somewhere.
There are concerns. There are concerns for everyone. There are concerns for truckers. There are concerns for ourselves. You know this spot where we are, Mfundo? It's a crime zone. There are boards here. There are boards here written crime zone, high alert. If you have heard of a gang called Magoma Goma, they operate here, especially at night. So these truckers know. But there are police officers here. They've been patrolling. They've been looking over them. They've been patrolling, throughout the night. This morning, of course, we are seeing them here. They are just around us here. They've been keeping their eyes there. They've been watching over these truckers. And now there's a bit of relief when you see police here moving around here. But I can tell you, this is a high crime zone. People get marked here, all the time.
Lutendo, thank you very much for that reportage. SABC News reporter there, Lutendo Bobodi. We always say when we have such situations where criminals now have a name, they're fully entrenched themselves. So quite concerning what is taking place there.